Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, my fellow Chibits. Hopefully all of you are having a wonderful day today, because today I'm here to bring you all a new anime review on Kiznaiver. Oh, this episode was fucking amazing. Oh my god, it was an amazing episode. Like, my first raw emotions right now, I just want to say, it was such an amazing episode. It was very simplistic. I gotta say, it was a simplistic episode, the message overall, but it was still such a great episode, and I don't feel like this episode would have been as good as it was if it wasn't for Studio Trigger focusing so much on these characters, giving them so much development and characterization through all these episodes, not really focusing on the entirety of the plot, but focusing on the characters. If it wasn't for that, I don't think this episode would have had the impact it had on me, and probably many others out there. Just seeing Maki and her finally having acceptance for the death of her friend, it was such a beautiful moment. I mean, we knew this was going to happen. If we get down to the nitty-gritty, okay, we knew she was eventually going to accept her friend's death. That had to happen because that was the arc we're in, if we look at the nitty-gritty and just really be serious about this. But when it comes to the execution of this entire arc, it was something I felt was done better than I actually envisioned it would be. Because when you see how the final scene is done with all this sadness, like you have all this sadness throughout the episode, and then last week's episode, and then we get to that final part of the episode to where she's like, oh, run off into the water and all that, and they all go just jumping into the water. I was just like, this is very sweet. And then when she's thinking about what her friend did, her final moments, like how her friend sent a message through the final chapter to her, it was such a touching moment. And it's kind of sad because, I mean, for one, she never read the last chapter. She never wanted to read the last chapter of the manga that she was, writing with her friend because, she knew what was going to happen and she just didn't want to see it because she never helped. But she finally sat down, read it, got to see the message her friend left her, and realized it wasn't what she thought. It was something else entirely. And she realized now she needs to move on, and her friend wants her to move on, doesn't want her to constantly be stuck in the past thinking about the death of her. She wants Maki to move on, acceptance. And like I said, the message is very simplistic. It's nothing that just blows your mind away because it's a 10 out of 10 and it's a complex, but when it comes to the message of it with the execution, they did a good job. I feel like Trigger did a very good job with something that has been done before. And it was tasteful. It's a very tasteful way to end this arc with Maki and kind of get her connected with all of our cast of characters in the series. So, one thing that really got me too was definitely some of the funny moments of this episode. Besides the sadness to the happiness of Maki finally accepting the death of her friend and moving on, there was some funny moments that got me to laugh my ass off, and that was definitely getting to see Yuta running. When you have Maki's like, I want you all to run into the ocean, just go swimming and all that, Yuta's the first one to start running, okay? And he's the type of character that seems like he wouldn't want to do something like that. We've seen how his character's been built up. Well, he starts running and all that, and he's like this. He's running like this. Like, I'm not even joking. He's doing that Furuta running. If you saw the latest chapter, not the latest chapter that came out today, but if you saw last week's latest chapter, Tokyo Ghoul, you probably saw that Furuta running. He was like this. Or, fucking Yuta was like running like this, and then, Furuta was running like he was doing the splits while running. It was like some form of that retarded type running going on right there, and I'm like, oh my god, Yuta, that running, just like, it's so fucking hilarious. Don't run ever again. Just don't run again. Don't ever run again, Yuta. Don't, okay? That right there is just so embarrassing. I mean, you look like such a cool character, and then running like that, I just can't help but bust a gut, because that was just too funny looking. I mean, the way he had his hands up and all that, he was running like this, I just couldn't. I just couldn't hold back the laughs. So, I gotta say, this episode was enjoyable. I had a fun time watching it, and I love getting to see Maki finally getting together with all the other, characters, because she's one of my personal favorites, definitely. I've said it already, she is my personal favorite character of Kiznaiver. She is, definitely. Hands down, she is my favorite character. I've loved her personality. I loved getting to see how this entire arc has been focused on her, and I feel like she's actually gotten more development than any other character so far. I really believe that. Now, another thing too, Sonozaki, she has finally been confirmed that she has a connection to Katsuhira, because we see a portrait, like a little picture, with her in the past, and she was very young, and she was a part of an experiment from what we can assume. So it's finally been confirmed that she was the girl in the flashbacks we saw in the earlier parts of Kiznaiver that was with Katsuhira. So there you go. I mean, it was already obvious that it was her, but now that we got the picture and stuff, we can throw that aside as theories or, you know, hypotheticals. It actually seems to be legit and seems to be true. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.